So in regards to core inflation, which is what determines whether or not the Federal Reserve is going to increase, decrease, or keep interest rates the same. We talked about this in a previous video, but when the Federal Reserve increases interest rates, it's their way of combating or fighting against inflation. And so when they increase interest rates, what happens is that spending in general goes down. Banks are tighter with who they lend to, so people get less money, and employees give out smaller raises, so people are not making as much money. And then again, prices on food and everything else, as we can see, prices went up from 3% to 3.2%. Prices on everything goes up, so people just in general spend less money. And when people spend less money, and banks are giving out less money, employers are giving out less money, then the market slows down because there's less money in the system altogether and demand goes down. So that's how the Federal Reserve tries to combat inflation. The core inflation right now is currently at 4.7%. It's come down from the last report in June from 4.8% to 4.7% in this report. But it's, the Federal Reserve wants to keep inflation at 2%, which is still a long way off from 4.7%. So the next FOMC meeting is scheduled to happen sometime in September. And based on this data, we'll see, based on the next report, which comes out in September, we'll see how we're doing at that point in time. And it'll allow us to find out whether or not the Federal Reserve is going to increase, decrease, or keep interest rates the same. But core inflation is at 4.7%, and it seems to be stuck in this range between 4% to 5%. So it's kind of stuck in that range. So I predict that in the future, the Federal Reserve is going to have to increase interest rates closer to the end of the year to try to get this inflation number down. But, I don't know the future, so we'll see what happens. But that's what's going on with the CPI data right now. Inflation is up a little bit. Core inflation is down by 0.1%. So we will, between now and September, we'll find out what the next report is going to say, and then we'll know again what the Federal Reserve is going to do in September, whether they're going to increase interest rates, decrease interest rates, or keep interest rates the same. So next, I'm going to talk a little bit about what the CPI data actually is and how they gather this information. To begin with, is very, very interesting how they get this CPI information, and we'll talk about that next.